Well, I found this interesting, or this article interesting, because there's a lot of talk about like gender identity and like what's masculine, what's feminine, that kind of thing. Well, these are eight feminine and masculine items that were originally intended for the opposite sex. Number one, stockings and leggings. Stockings and leggings are strictly female clothing these days, bar some thermal or sporty cases. But they used to be a man's choice of legwear. In fact, fashionable rich men have worn stockings since the 9th century. Women didn't adopt them until some 800 years later in the 18th century. Fun fact, there was a period of overlap when men didn't want anything to think they were wearing women's stockings. That's when the term pantyhose was invented to differentiate lady stockings from men's hose. AJ, we should bring these back. And be
Who
like,
wore the pantyhose? The men?
well, no, I think they were like when it sounds like when women started wearing them, they're like. They're like, no, when you wear them, they're pantyhose. When we wear them, they're stockings or something like that. We should bring these back. We'll start wearing them and be like, we're rich men.
Wear like little swords and stuff, like Robin Hood.
We should like start dressing like Southern dandies. Number two, wristwatches. A Rolex is often taken as a sign of a successful man, but back in the day, wristwatches were strictly for women. Up until World War I, men considered wristwatches to be dainty feminine accessories comparable to jewelry. Any self-respecting man would wear a pocket watch instead. But the horrifying conditions of the trenches made pocket watches very impractical. All it took was the worst war humanity had seen to date to convince men to start wearing their watches on their it says watches. I think they mean wrist. Yeah, I guess I could see that. My dad still likes pocket watches. I mean, I think he wears watches too, but he definitely has a couple pocket watches.
It's weird what people decided was masculine and feminine. Like watches versus pocket watches. Like that seems like a strange thing to like decipher, one being masculine, one being feminine.
You know what I also think are funny is like the old guys that would wear the sock garters with the little clips to hold their socks up.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody still does that. Number three, thongs. Those sexy little G-strings. Yeah, those were originally men's underwear.
Oh no.
Granted, the original thong
Split your balls in half.
worn in places like Egypt, Greece, and Japan wasn't quite as dainty as its modern equivalent, yet they left the wearer's butt cheeks exposed all the same. Women's thong, on the other hand, was born in 1939, at least according to one story. During the New York World Trade Fair, the city's mayor ordered female nude dancers to cover up their shame, so they pulled on G-strings so they could still shake their booty for the audience. So even in 1939, they had nude dancers?
I guess so. I guess they've always had some sort of nudity. So,
Probably in certain places. Number four, crop tops. See a man wearing a crop top today, and many people immediately assume he has some feminine qualities. Yet in the 80s and early 90s, they were the peak of masculinity. Crop tops were born in the locker rooms of top American football players. You can't get much manlier than that. Yet by the mid-90s, most men had decided that they didn't want to flaunt their stomachs, and women took over crop tops. Maybe the guys just didn't want to put in the effort to build the kind of six-pack to pull the six-pack look off. I mean, I feel like there's still guys that do try this look, but I guess it's not as popular as it was in that time period.
The 80s, it was like very popular.
Yeah, especially like if you watch like certain movies and TV shows from that time period, you'll see it a lot.
For sure.
You know what also I think is funny is like 80s movies especially, a lot of like the douchey villain types will wear like the sweater with like the arms wrapped around his neck and stuff like that, you know? It's like, it was like, that definitely spells douche. Number five, high heels. High heels are probably one of the most feminine articles of clothing in existence, yet they were originally worn by burly Persian soldiers. The high heels allowed cavalry warriors to lock their feet into their stirrups, making it easier to stay in the saddle during the fighting. A few hundred years later, 17th century French gentlemen adopted high heels as one of the most fashionable things to wear. Women didn't start wearing high heels until their skirt hem started slowly getting shorter. The heels made their feet seem smaller and their calves look more toned. By the 18th century, men dumped heels altogether. I mean, I guess if you're riding a horse at the time, people probably can't really. It probably doesn't look as weird as just seeing a
Yeah.
guy in high heels.
Yeah, he's not actually like walking around on them.
Still now, according to this article, we could put on stockings and high heels and be as manly as we want to be.
I'm sure they'll get to wigs too.
Number 6, Old Spice. Old Spice had a whole ad campaign built around the slogan "Smell like a man," which is ironic because the first Old Spice product was for women. Launched in 1937, early American Old Spice was a woman's scent, inspired by the potpourri its inventor's mother wore. The first men's Old Spice scent came in the following year. It must have sold better. Does Old Spice even have a single women's scent or deodorant these days? I mean, I don't even know. They might,
I
but
don't know.
it definitely like the modern day marketing I know is more towards men.
Yeah, I always think of them as a men's band.
Number 7, makeup. Now,
Hey, women stole everything from men.
Now, it'd be unfair to say that women of old didn't wear makeup. They absolutely did. But lipstick, powder, and eyeliner didn't used to be as strongly associated with women as they are today. Ancient Egyptian pharaohs wore thick eyeliner and lipstick, both to show off their wealth and to make themselves look like gods Horus and Ra. Roman men used red pigments to add a blush to their cheeks and painted their nails, while many gentlemen in 17th and 18th century England and France inadvertently killed themselves with ghostly pale lead-based face powder.
Not the best way to.
Men didn't stop dolling up their faces until the 19th century, when Queen Victoria and the Church of England began to disapprove of the practice. Yet they didn't manage to kill male makeup off completely. The male sections of the makeup aisles might be small, but they're still there.
I mean, plenty of guys still use makeup. I think there's never been a time where guys weren't wearing makeup. There's guys have always done it.
Are there a lot of straight guys wearing makeup, though?
Yeah. Even like today, there's a lot of straight guys who wear makeup. They just don't talk about it.
I guess I don't even notice.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know, like, TV guys and stuff put on, like, the basic stuff to, like, so they pop on camera and
Yeah.
stuff. But, like,
Like my sister said, like she'd be in high school when she was younger, and they'd be like, guys like, "Hey, can I borrow your makeup? I want to touch up something." Like,
really?
yeah.
I guess I'm a basic ass bitch. I've never. Maybe I should look into. So, okay, we need stockings, high heels, and makeup, and we'll be the manliest men on the block. And then finally, number 8, the Ford Mustang. Ford Mustang. What young man doesn't want to show off driving such a badass masculine muscle car? But when the Mustang was first introduced in the mid 60s, Ford marketed it to women. With a large trunk that could hold plenty of groceries, Ford called the car the sweetheart of the supermarket set. The manufacturer even carefully picked the red color of the original Mustangs to match popular lipstick tones at the time. Even today, the Mustang is one of the most popular sports cars among women. I did not know that. I mean, I don't know if any of the are any of these like super surprising to you. I mean, I guess like I never saw like any historical things of men wearing the stockings.
Yeah, I never saw that. I thought wigs would definitely be up there because I know men like used to wear those because to hide their syphilis.
The old powder wigs.
Yeah.
It would be fun to rock some powdered wigs somewhere.
That'd be so ridiculous. Rocking powdered wigs and stockings and high heels. People would definitely think we were a drag, but we would just be the manliest men. They don't know it.
That's true. It's like I'm just like cosplaying as like Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, we're like banning drag shows and everything. We're like we're basically banning our forefathers.
That's true. It's like all those people that argue like, what would our forefathers have wanted?
They
It's like,
would've
well,
fit right in.
maybe they would have been into this. Maybe, just maybe, they would have been into this a little bit.